I slap you, I slap you down. I slap you, I slap you down. I slap you with violence. Many years ago, my mother, my very brilliant mother, who worked in the hotel industry, she lost her job. She was retrenched. And so, bearing a small child, she went looking for jobs wherever she can get them. I mean, some of the stories of her standing up in a line and trying to get stuff so that she can get a job. Eventually, jobs like cleaning people's houses and taking care of their children, for better or worse, was a thing. It was one of those things that she did. So the church would have hampers that they would give out, and Sundays they would have Sunday meals. So like people would cook and bring boxes of lunch and that kind of stuff. That's the kind of thing that would happen in church. And then one day, this older guy, this guy who saw my mother, um, he told the people who were putting this stuff together, and these are the exact words: "What man she working, and he mother working? Why we giving she for?" Now again, never mind the fact that A, what she was working for and pittance is the same thing. B, it's a church. Let's tone it down a little. And C, just because somebody is working or looking good or speak well, because we all have these weird preconceptions of what poor people and financially in a mess people supposed to sound and look like, huh? Just because she wasn't of any of that doesn't mean to say that she didn't have a need. Sometimes those Sunday lunches would work well for my mom, my grandmother, and myself. But I guess mom was greedy, because she worked in her. I guess she was greedy to go and and let someone give her a box of food. I find it very elitist and altogether daft that the people who are in power can stand up and talk about some people are in need and some people are there for greed. And perhaps what's even more disconcerting is the notion that it's not as bad as it seems. It's not as bad as it is on the ground. In fact, for a lot of people it might be worse. So you can't stand there and say that these people are there for greed. You don't know the situation. Also, you have a bunch of mentally exhausted people living in a pandemic standing up in a line to try and get food. A line where cameramen could possibly pass and their faces can be emblazoned all over the newspaper and stuff. I say this because people still have a measure of pride. I didn't, I didn't always like to go by the neighborhood shop and ask the man to credit. Pride, for better or worse, that's a thing. What that statement also says to me, though, is that there is a great disconnect. The minister and the Confederates believe that there is one type of reality, when in reality there is something different. It's like when the Minister of Housing, the then Minister of Housing, the Honorable Keith Rowley, remember he was a Minister of Housing at one point, he and his people would stand up and say, there's no lottery system. We are all endeavoring to make sure everyone gets their houses. And when your name is called, your name is called. And then I pick up the phone and I call HDC and say, hey, what's going on with this stuff? And well, it's a lottery system. And if your name get pulled, so here's the minister talking out of his mouth about what the process is, and here's the person on the ground who is actually telling me what the real process is. So, in like manner, it's quite possible that someone has, or a group of people have come to the minister and said, oh, these are these stats right now. It's bad, but it's not that bad. We can make it if we try. Let's all sing a song. Let's do some kumbaya. And then the minister stands up and says these types of things about people. in a pandemic, trying their utmost best. And I want to put this out again. People who are going through financial crisis and situations are not one kind of people. They don't all look and have this kind of hair. They don't have all this color skin. It's not poor black people and poor Indian people. There might actually be some very high colored people who, I mean, it just tank and now they have to go to the archdiocese and or go to some place and say, can I get help? But people are greedy. And just to be clear, I'm not saying that there aren't people who are opportunists. I'm saying temper your speech. Understand the predicament that people are living in. Yes, poverty existed before COVID-19 and it will exist after COVID-19 because that's the society we live in. But temper your speech. When you stand up there and say that some people are in need and some people are there for greed and that it's not that bad, it's not that dire, you're not being real about the situation. So while I have a great deal of respect for the people who run the show, I still say to you lobbyists and the people behind the scenes who whisper into the minister's ear about how things are, who don't know how things really are. And to the rest of you, Trinidad and Tobago, who thinks that, well, yes, people just greedy. Look at the line. Look how they're rushing. I slap you.
I slap you, I slap you down. I slap you, I slap you down. I slap you with violence.